Welcome, everyone. It's Laura Jacques-Gilmour, your modern day mystic, with your weekly collective card pull using my Remembering You Oracle deck. This reading is for the energy of August 25th to August 31st. As always, just notice what stands out for you and trust what resonates. I created this deck to help you reconnect with your own inner knowing. It came through my own process of remembering who I was underneath all the roles, patterns, expectations, and old stories I've been carrying. When I use these cards, I'm not using them to tell you what to do or to predict your future. And I'm definitely not using them to replace your intuition. For me, the cards are more like a mirror. They give language to what your body, your heart, and your inner knowing may already be trying to show you. This week, I'm working with 3 questions to help us look at the energy of the week as a collective. The first question was, what energy is asking for our attention this week? Before I pull the card, what came through for me was, we are all unique and special. There are no accidents. And then I pulled the card permission. I love how these two came together because if we are all unique and there really are no accidents, then maybe part of what is asking for our attention this week is where we are still waiting for permission to be who we are, waiting for someone else to understand us, waiting for someone else to approve of what we want, or waiting until it makes sense to everyone around us before we let ourselves choose what feels true. But permission is such a quiet, powerful card. It's not about forcing anything, it's about allowing yourself to be who you are and to want what you want, to honor your needs, your dreams, and the wisdom that is already rising within you. You don't need to earn the right to rest. You don't need to earn the right to heal. And you don't need to earn the right to create or choose a different path. So this week, maybe ask yourself, what am I ready to give myself permission to do, feel, or become? The second question was, what might we be ready to recognize, release, or soften this week? Before I pulled the card, what came through for me was fear of not being enough. And then I pulled the card integration. And I have to share this because I think it matters. I pulled integration for this question. And at first I thought, no, that doesn't feel like the right card. So I shuffled and I pulled again. And integration came through again. So I paid attention because maybe the message here is that the fear of not being enough is not something we just notice once and move on from. Maybe this is something we are being invited to integrate at a deeper level, not just understand it, not just name it, but to begin to live differently because we have seen it. Integration is where the insight becomes part of your everyday life. It's where healing stops being an idea and starts becoming something you practice. How you speak to yourself, what you stop apologizing for, and what you stop shrinking around, what you stop trying to prove. So, if fear of not being enough comes up this week, maybe the invitation is not to fight it or shame yourself for having it. Maybe the invitation is to notice it and ask, what wisdom am I ready to embody now? Or even more simply, how would I move through today if I didn't need to prove I was enough? The third question was, what part of ourselves are we being invited to remember or reclaim? Before I pulled the card, what came through for me was our inner goddess, our inner warrior of peace. And I know that might sound a little funny at first, but what I felt with that was This part of us that can hold strength and peace at the same time. The part of us that can be soft without disappearing, strong without becoming hardened, and peaceful without abandoning ourselves. And then I pulled the card Harmony. That made so much sense to me because harmony is about balance. It's about the different parts of ourselves beginning to work together in a more supportive way. Our thoughts, our emotions, our actions, our values, and our inner knowing. Harmony doesn't mean everything is perfect. It doesn't mean nothing is uncomfortable. It means we are beginning to find a more natural rhythm inside ourselves. And maybe that is what this inner goddess, inner warrior peace energy is really about. Not fighting ourselves, not abandoning ourselves, not waiting for the outside world to feel calm before we allow peace within us, but making one gentle adjustment that helps us come back into balance. So maybe ask yourself, what would help restore greater harmony in my life right now? When I look at these three cards together, permission, integration, and harmony, the message feels really clear. Give yourself permission to be who you are. Notice where the fear of not being enough is still shaping your choices. And begin to bring yourself back into harmony by living from what you already know is true. This doesn't feel like a week of proving. It doesn't feel like a week of forcing yourself into a whole new version of your life. It feels more like a week of allowing yourself to want what you want, allowing yourself to stop carrying the fear that you're not enough, allowing your inner wisdom, your strength, and your peace to begin working together. So, your reflection questions for the week are: what am I waiting for permission to do, feel, choose, or become? How would I move through today if I didn't need to prove I was enough? And what would create more harmony within me right now? For integration this week, keep it simple. Place one hand on your heart, take a slow breath, ask yourself, what am I waiting for permission to do, feel, choose, or become? Write down the first answer that comes, then say, I give myself permission to honor this truth. Take good care. Just notice what you notice this week. Trust your own inner knowing, and I'll see you next week.